Especially fired up for this episode today. We have a very special guest. Tim Brando's episode was great on Thursday. Go back and watch that one. We learned a lot about his career, his life, and how he just carried himself in sports media. If everybody's trying to pursue a dream in sports media, go back and watch that episode because that one was really, really good. Today, we have a very special guest, and we're getting fired up for football season, especially for all our SEC fans listening to Pigskin Frenzy. Dailey Joy is coming on the show. We have her. We're so fired up. Founder and owner of SEC Pretty. She's going to talk about her business and talk some SEC football. We're fired up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Podbean, or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram, at Pigskin_Frenzy, you're going to find highlights, news across college football, and updates for Pigskin Frenzy, and just random stuff from me because, you know, just posting some stuff. Why not, right? Because that's just who I am as a funny guy, I guess, goofy guy. But we have a very special guest on today, and by the grace of our Lord Jesus, we're so thankful for getting to 5,200 listeners on this show. Keep on plugging in and subscribing. We love him, and we just share our faith with him, because without him, we wouldn't be here. So we have a very special guest today, founder and owner of SEC Pretty, LSU alum, because, you know, I mean, why not, right? Go Tigers, right? Founder of SEC Pretty, Dailey Joy joins the show. Dailey, how are you?
I am wonderful, Joel. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about your SEC Pretty business in a minute. I see you're rocking a Tennessee-type version of the SEC Pretty hat, and it kind of goes with Pigskin Frenzy. No, we didn't plan this before anyone asks. So let's talk about, before we get into your business, your life outside of football media, life outside of running your business. What's the life of Dailey Joy in general?
Honestly, it's pretty boring if it's not college football season.
Yeah.
So I work for a financial tech company based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So I work a traditional 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. If you follow me on Twitter, then you know my boss is the literal best boss in the entire world and gives me a lot of grace to travel. I went to the College World Series from start to finish. So I get a lot of leeway, but I also work really hard. And when I'm there, he gets 100% of me all the time. I'm also pretty much on call 24/7, 365. So that's the part of my job that people don't understand. And so, yeah, I mean, if I'm not at a football game or at a baseball game, I'm probably at home on the couch with my dog, just chilling and relaxing. I really try to prioritize rest because when you travel as much as I do, you have to rest. You don't have much of a choice. I have recently picked up golf, and so have been golfing a lot, going to the driving range, going to like different golf simulators and stuff like that. So that's been a fun way to just like pass some time and, hang out with friends outside of my normal everyday life.
Awesome. What, is golfing fun? Because I am not a golf person. I'm only like a putt-putt kind of guy. So
Yeah.
is actual golfing fun?
I think golf is fun. I think it's the hardest sport ever. Like
Really?
I think golf and baseball to me are the two hardest sports, and I don't think there's really much debate on any other sport even coming close to comparison in that. But it's so fun if you can just learn not to get frustrated with yourself. Like, I now approach the game as like, I'm never going to be the world's best golfer. I'm probably not even going to be like very good. My boyfriend's very good at golf, and it helps that like he loves it, so I enjoy doing it with him. He is insanely patient with me and does not like ever laugh at me or make fun of me when I like whiff the ball or make a fool out of myself. He's just like, why would I laugh at you? Like, I want you to enjoy this. And because of that, it's made it a much more enjoyable experience. I think it's probably 99% who you do it with.
That's good. I've heard a lot about golf. I must need to pick up on it, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people play it, and when I scroll through X, I'm seeing like, for example, I had Tim Brando on my show the other day. I just hyped that one up to start the show. He plays a lot of golf. So I'm like, everybody I know and like I see plays golf. So it's like, I don't know if I need to pick up on it or not.
Yeah, it's fun. I had bought golf clubs way before I met my boyfriend. Ghost of Texas football, shout out Ghost, love Ghost. He is like a big time golfer, and he DM'd me like a ton of different recommendations on clubs and was really trying to help me figure out a way to get into it. So I took all of his advice and then met my boyfriend, and he just ran with it. So yeah, it's been a really fun little side thing to do just to take my mind off everyday life.
And shout out to Ghosts of Texas Football, too. At 40 Acre Vibes, we have him on the show next Tuesday. Spoiler, guys, spoiler. We have him on the show next Tuesday. So that's going to be fun. So, yeah, we're going to talk football and Texas football with Ghosts. So that's pretty unique. I mentioned that you're an LSU alum. So for all my LSU, fanatics out there, talk about going to LSU. What's it like? What's the atmosphere like? I know there's a lot of people who, even who didn't go to LSU, would go to the Tiger Stadium and say this is the best stadium in the sport. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I born and raised in Louisiana, so like you don't really have much of a choice. Like you're going to LSU, and yeah, I mean, it was everything that you think it is. It was the best time. It was the most culture. It was just top to bottom the most incredible experience. I worked for LSU football recruiting while I was at LSU, so my whole life had revolved around LSU football from the time I was a freshman in college to now. Some things just never changed. But yeah, it was an incredible experience. I met the most amazing people. I still keep in touch with so many people from college. And yeah, I mean, I look back and think about, could I have ever gone anywhere else? Especially now that I'm traveling so much and going to different SEC schools. And I just always look back and go like, I could have gone to other places, but I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else. Like I love being an LSU Tiger, and like they say forever LSU, and they really mean that. Like we carry every single bit of that place with us as we go on throughout our lives.
What was your favorite? Because I'm pretty sure you've attended football games, obviously. So what was your favorite game that you've attended as an LSU alum or just fan in general?
As an alum? Oh,
yes.
As an alum, it's easy. It's the 2019 LSU A&M game at Death Valley when Joe Burrow ran out with his jersey spelled EAUX.
Yeah.
And I've heard that place be really loud, like multiple times. I don't remember a moment that was that. It was loud, but it was also like as emotional as it was loud. There was like this awareness in the air that like we had just witnessed the best college football season ever and with the best quarterback ever. And, we're sitting here going like, when are we ever going to see someone like 9 again? And then obviously 2 years later we got Jaden Daniels, but there was something about Joe Burrow running out in that jersey that just felt like we already had claimed him. Like we knew he was one of us, but it was kind of him like accepting the invitation. And that was will probably always be one of my favorite moments.
That 2019 season was special. Like really, really special. Like for me watching it, I'm like, man, this team's going to win the whole thing. Like this team was that special. So
I got really lucky. I was living in Indianapolis in 2019, so I wasn't in Louisiana. But I had gone home for the season opener. So I saw our season opener that year. And then I went to the LSU A&M game, which was the season closer and at home. And then I went to the national championship. So I saw that 2019 team play 3 times, and one of them was to win the Natty. And will undoubtedly be one of the best college football years of my life. I'll remember that one forever.
What was the moment that like the pinpoint game for you in that season that you thought as an alum or whatever that this team was going to win the whole thing? Like what was?
I think I knew they were going to win the whole thing on 3rd and 17 versus Texas, and I think it was like week 2, week 3. I think it was week 2. There was that moment of like that game had kind of been back and forth. I don't think people realize like that game was actually pretty close.
Yeah.
But like it just felt like every time we almost were out of it, Joe Burrow was like, "Yeah, no, we're not out of this," and then that 3rd and 17 when he just scrambled and found a way to find Jamar Chase, which if we would have known then what we know now, like how how defining that moment was for that duo. But like seeing that knockout punch and realizing like, okay, not only are we an incredible football team, but we find ways to end games in situations and scenarios where you maybe couldn't. And I remember I have always applauded the University of Texas. I think it's a really hard place to go in and win. And doing that to that Texas team, who at the time was one of the better Texas teams that we had seen in quite some time, gave me a lot of confidence knowing that, okay, yeah, we were going to have to go to Auburn and to Alabama. Like, I knew that those games were sitting on our schedule, but being able to finish that game gave me a lot of confidence going into the rest of the games, knowing that we were able to finish.
And Florida and Auburn, those were some two tough teams that year for LSU too.
It was quite the year, but yeah, it was special.
Absolutely, that's good. And they were a phenomenal team. I think the best college football team probably to ever step foot on a field. Do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I'm probably a little biased. I always say like it was without a doubt the best team I'll ever see. And you know, people love to compare the Miami teams of old. There's some Alabama teams that feel like they deserve to have that, to be in that conversation. And it is so much. It's so similar to the debates that we're gonna have for the rest of our lives about who's the best basketball player. Was it MJ?
Right.
Was it LeBron? Was it Kobe? I named my dog Kobe, so I'm biased there. Like, I love me some Kobe Bryant. And so I think that I think Miami fans are always going to say it was Miami. I think LSU fans are always going to say it was 2019 LSU. I think there's some Alabama fans that are always going to say it was their team. And I try really hard not to get in those kind of debates with people because it's such a relative conversation. I think we are all just really lucky that we have gotten to see some of the best teams that have ever done it. And so I choose not to just absorb myself in like them being the best team ever. In my mind, they were the best team ever, and they were the best team that my school has ever produced. And like that, I'm proud of that. So
Yeah, and that 2023 LSU team was pretty solid too. Besides the defense, but I mean,
I can't talk about Matt House without getting.
yeah. Besides the defense, I was gonna say besides the defense, that LSU season was a what could have been season. But I mean,
Yeah, it still angers me.
yeah, you look very triggered.
Yeah, if I see Matt House, it's on site. Like, I will catch a charge immediately.
Well, before we get Dailey Julie any more angry than I'm already getting her right now by mentioning Matt House, let's talk about your business. SEC Pretty, running your business. What's it like running a business? And also, a counter to that, what led you to you creating SEC Pretty?
Yeah, SEC Pretty was never supposed to be a business. Let me start there. Like, how this came to be is still, I still struggle to really wrap my head around it. I got sent a TikTok video of a girl, and she was drunk at a bar in Los Angeles, and she was saying like, everyone wants to be like a New York 10 or an LA 10 or a Miami 10, and she was like, have you seen the girls that go to SEC schools? And she starts naming all these random SEC schools, and this person sent me the TikTok and was like, everyone just wants to be SEC Pretty. And I was like, that's genius. Like, I heard that and I was like, that's so smart. And I was like, I'm taking that. And he was like, have at it. Like, it was a guy, he would never have used it. So I was like, okay, great. And so we talked about it for months, and I went and had a hat made that said SEC Pretty. And I wore it to the College World Series, not thinking much of it. And the amount of questions that I got from LSU and Arkansas fans about where they could buy the SEC Pretty hat. And I was just like, okay, I came home. I had a very prominent LSU baseball player ask me where he could get the hat. And at that moment, I was like, it's do or die. Like, You're either going to make the hat or you're going to buckle. Like, you have to put your foot on the gas or you're not doing this at all. And so I ordered 24 SEC Pretty hats and sold them out within 24 hours. And I was like, okay, I think I have something here. So then the plan was to slow roll all the SEC schools. So I released 4 SEC schools. I started with LSU, Florida, Texas, and there's one more I can't remember. And maybe Alabama. I started with 4 schools and put those 4 schools out, and within 24 hours, I had like 50 to 75 DMs of people being like, when's my school coming out? And I was like, okay, it doesn't look like slow rolling this is going to be an option. Like, I think I'm just going to have to do it. And so I, terrified, put in a big order with my embroiderer and was like, here, I need all of these hats for all of these schools. And this could fail. Like, I could owe you money for the next 6 months. I am happy to say right now I don't owe him a penny. Every hat's been paid for. And yeah, it's blown up and it's blooming, and I'm so grateful for it. I obviously, like overnight, you have to learn how to run a business. So it's like, how do you build a website? How do you create an LLC? You got to open business bank accounts, and you got to have business credit cards, and you have to, make sure that it's all trademarked. And then people try to steal your stuff, so you have to send cease and desist. I mean, like, it's this whole thing, and no one really tells you when you're doing it, like, what's happening. And also, I don't know if anyone could have prepared me. Like, I don't know if anyone thought that it was going to take off the way that it did. But I am incredibly, like, there is not a day that I wake up that I don't look at this hat and be like, who would have thought that silly little hat that I wore to the College World Series would open the doors that it's opened for me. I had to move into a bigger apartment because I didn't have the space to store all of the inventory that I have. So it's been the biggest blessing in my entire life, and I am more grateful every single day. Like, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not so grateful for the way that the people of the SEC have embraced the brand, because I just thought it was going to be a silly little hat.
Hey, all right, so that's a good, transition, if that makes sense, for what I'm about to ask next. So, as you said, silly little hat. Are there going to be shirts? Is there going to be more merchandise coming up to it?
Merch coming, no doubt about it. Obviously you get the girls that are like, I love it. Like, SEC Pretty is the coolest thing ever, but like, I don't wear hats. My best friend in the entire world will not wear a hat to save her life. And so she's like, when you get crew necks, I'm buying 100 of them. And I'm like, okay, deal. So yes, there's more merch in the works, especially because fall is football and you want to be like cozy and you're like thinking about cuddling up on your couch or going to a tailgate. And obviously, being from Louisiana, it doesn't get cold until December, but for some of these schools, it does. And so I want to be able to give everybody what they want. Obviously, within time and within, measure. Like, I think sometimes, like, I was getting a lot of DMs about where stuff was, and I was like, I'm one singular person. Like, I can only do so much. And I also work a full-time job. This is not my full-time job. So, but yes, many more things coming, many things in the works, and it'll all be revealed soon.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It was I know there was a lot of people wearing the hats and everything, and that's why I invited you on the show. I was like, I got to get her on to talk about these hats. They're everywhere, it seems like. So I'm glad that you came on and started to talk about the hats and everything. And it does get cold up here because I'm in Illinois. So I'm in Big Ten country. So it does get cold or colder by October.
Yeah.
So as a Mississippi guy in Illinois, I'm telling you, I need to order a hoodie.
I get it. When I lived in Indiana, I was like, this is not the South anymore. Like, it's freezing up here.
Absolutely. A lot of people are going to be wanting shirts and hoodies and crew necks and everything. So that's really, really neat. I'm glad that you, creator came up with the idea for the hats and everything. So do you have all SEC schools, like all 16?
Yeah, literally as of today. So there were a couple schools that it was just more difficult. Like, there's schools obviously that have like similar colorways, but they're not exactly the same. But like getting thread and hats that are in those colorways is not the easiest thing to do in the world. Not everyone is as like bright as Tennessee or as like distinct as LSU or as easy as Kentucky. Like, there are some schools that are very similar, and I wanted to give schools like a distinction, and it just wasn't as easy as you might think it was. But as of today, all 16 SEC schools are on the website and available for purchase.
That's awesome. And we're going to promote the website. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Start at the intro of the graphic. We're going to pop up her X. We're going to pop up her website. And you're going to know where to go to order these awesome hats. I know you were talked about shirts and, the hoodies. Now, what about wristwear? Are you thinking about creating like rubber bracelets? Because I have like stuff like this. I was thinking about creating stuff for Pigskin Frenzy. So
honestly, like, I have had just everything that I've thought about creating has been stuff that people's asked for. Yeah. So like, if people ask for it, I'm willing to do it. I just have to, like, obviously it just will have to come in like the priority of the way that it's asked for. But I'm not against doing anything. I haven't thought about it, but I'm not against it either.
No. It's unique. So it's a unique brand, and a lot of people are starting to rep it. So it's gaining some notoriety for sure. So good job.
Thankfully. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So kind of moving away from, SEC Pretty a little bit. We're going to talk about it to wrap up everything for Pigskin Friends. We just talk about SEC football and talk about just college football in general. So who are your sleeper teams for the SEC? I've asked a lot of guys and a lot of people this who've come on Pigskin Frenzy. mainly Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered. I'm pretty sure if I get Ghost on, I'm going to ask him about it too. But who are some of your sleeper teams in the SEC heading into the 2025 season?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that there's a lot because I feel like so many are getting like notoriety. Like your sleeper teams that you could have considered previously, were your South Carolinas, your Floridas, which is so wild to even think that Florida could ever have been a sleeper team with the program that they have, but they have been. But this year, like I feel like they're getting some hype because of DJ Lagway. South Carolina's getting some hype because of Lenora Sellers. I'm not really completely on board with the Oklahoma hype around Mateer, but people are on it. Obviously, no one's getting more hype than LSU. I wish I would calm down with the LSU hype. Like, let's stop talking about them. Like, Texas is getting hype. Georgia's getting hype. I don't know really, like, that we have a sleeper team, if I'm being honest with you. I think if I had to name one, it would be Ole Miss. Yeah. And the only reason that I even think that is because they're just not being talked about. And the idea that Lane Kiffin is going to let his offense fall off after Jackson Dart is gone is mind-boggling to me. I'm like, it's Lane Kiffin. Like, if there's something he's going to do right, it's offense. So they're not being talked about, I think, nearly enough. So I guess if I had to deem a sleeper team in the SEC, it would probably be Ole Miss. But I would argue with just about anyone that if you have them as a sleeper team, you're just not paying attention because it's Ole Miss.
Yeah. I had them ninth in my conference standing projections for the SEC. So I must be, out of the news, out of the know of Ole Miss. I don't know. I've looked at Ole Miss. I don't even know if
there's news or no. Like there's not a lot of hype around them. But that's kind of my whole point is like the hype in my mind is just all kind of media stuff. Like I'm like, I don't believe anything until I see the product that you put on the field. And Lane Kiffin has produced quality offenses year after year after year after year. So the idea that he's all of a sudden just going to fall off and not produce another quality offense, I just don't buy that. I just don't believe it. So, I wouldn't consider them a sleeper because I'm not sleeping on them. But I would say a lot of people are. So,
you think Austin Simmons will shine?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many question marks around the entire conference, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Like, I understand people loving Arch, but I'm like, we don't really know what Arch is going to do. Yeah. There's so much pressure on Lenora Sellers, and you don't know how well he's going to perform under that pressure. DJ Lagway is a phenomenal quarterback, but if Homeboy don't stay healthy, then they're going to be screwed.
Yeah.
Garrett Nussmeier should be the best quarterback in the SEC, but if he throws interceptions the way he threw interceptions last year, then we don't know. There's question marks around Simmons. There's question marks around everyone. I don't exactly. I have more questions than I have answers, right. And I'm not the girl that comes on and is going to be like, so and so is going to be great. No. And it's probably because I'm jaded. It's probably because my freshman year was the year after LSU lost in the college football national championship to Alabama, and they didn't get past the 50, and they returned 99% of their roster and were somehow worse. Like I'm just jaded, and I refuse to believe that last year's success is any indication of this year's success.
Yeah.
Or that last year's faults are any indication of this year's faults. They're new teams. There's new rosters. The transfer portal has changed everything. NIL has changed everything. So I'm hesitant to say so-and-so is going to be great because I just genuinely do not know.
Yeah. I mean, and you mentioned Garrett Nussmeier being who should be the best quarterback in the SEC. The only thing that I have with Garrett Nussmeier is showing up when it counts because he's fine against every other team, but Alabama, A&M, he did show up against Ole Miss, so a little bit. I mean, he didn't have a good game against Ole Miss, but we're going to, backtrack that. But A&M and Alabama mainly is when he kind of didn't show up when he needed to. And it seems like during the big-time moments is when he doesn't perform well.
So I can completely argue on that point.
Okay.
I don't know that there was a bigger moment than LSU Ole Miss.
Okay.
You're in overtime.
Yeah.
You're at home. It's probably one of the loudest environments you've been in all season. It's early in the season, too. You haven't been battle tested near to the level that you probably could have been. And you throw a laser beam to Kyron Lacy. Like, right. I don't know if he had a bigger moment that he could have shown up in like he did at LSU Ole Miss. And I think the two games that you mentioned, we could argue that he didn't show up, but the whole team didn't show up. Like
Right.
the idea that like the wide receivers weren't running clear routes,
Right.
and Garrett Nussmeier's getting pressured because our O line play wasn't well orchestrated, and our defense played deplorably. Like you made Jalen Milroe look like a Heisman candidate, and so the idea, what I don't like, and this isn't on you, this is everyone tends to do this, is like LSU, Alabama. Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier didn't have the most incredible game, but he had every bit of pressure on his back because his defense gave him nothing to work with. Like you made Jalen Milroe look like the best quarterback that was playing college football last year, and we all know that not to be the case. And so I blame less of that on Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah.
I blame more of that on the position and the pressure that he was put in. Now, I called him out on interceptions earlier in the show. I have an issue with how many interceptions he throws.
Yeah.
But even the A&M game, like, had a good first half. They switched quarterbacks, which, again, defense doesn't respond. And then all the pressure goes on Garrett. Oh, now you have to go do – and here's the deal. Garrett Nussmeier's not Jaden Daniels. Garrett Nussmeier's not Joe Burrow. Like, that amount – like, this is not the same kind of offense as those two guys were producing and performing. We're not going to outscore every single opponent if that is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You have to ask your defense to do something. And, you know, you said it earlier, 2023 was like the year of what should have been with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
What would last year have looked like for LSU if your defense halfway knows how to stop Marcel Reed? If your defense can get Jalen Milroe not to know how to run? Like, those are the things. So I have less of an issue with how Garrett Nussmeier performed in those two games and more of an issue with how the defense performed in those two games.
Yeah.
And so but in the game that I feel like it was his moment to show up and shine, he did exactly what you needed him to do when he played Ole Miss.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't really seem like they game planned for Marcel Reed to come into that game. Like
they did not.
They were just ready for Connor Wingman the whole time. And then when immediately, so I was watching the game and I was talking to my dad at the same time, and my dad was just on the phone watching it. So we were just chilling. I was just chilling watching the game, and I saw it. And when I saw him throw that pick, because Connor Wingman wasn't getting the ball down the field for A&M at all. When I saw him throw that pick, I smiled and I said, they're about to put Marcel Reed in. And I knew, and I saw him coming out on the field. I was like, oh no. And then immediately like goes down the field with Marcel Reed. I was like, oh, that's not good. But so you're kind of right on that. I am going to be in agreement with you. Hey, no argument for me there. High expectations and low expectations for SEC teams. This could be a conversation that we can go for the next 10 minutes on. But who do you have faith in and who do you not have faith in?
If I'm just going off of the talent that I know these rosters have,
right?
There's a couple teams. LSU should be a college football playoff team. It shouldn't be up for debate. It shouldn't be up for discussion. Like if you play with the amount of talent that you have on that roster and you don't make the college football playoff this year, like you have so drastically underperformed. If DJ Lagway stays healthy, Florida will be a team that people should be worried about. No doubt about it in my mind. And I can say the same thing about Lenore Sellers in South Carolina. I think all three of those teams have pretty high expectations. I have less high expectations for Texas than most Texas people do and than most media people do because I don't think we actually really know who Arch Manning is yet. Yeah. And that's not an insult at Arch. And I think that that's the thing that Texas fans have to understand is our lack of knowledge on who Arch Manning is as a quarterback is not a diss at Texas or at Arch or at Sark or any of those things. It just means that I have not seen Arch play the level of competition that he's about to have to play week in and week out enough to make a conscious call on how good Texas is going to be. I just don't know. I will always lean more towards a Georgia and a Kirby because they've proven time and time again that they deserve the benefit of the doubt. I think Gunnar Stockton is going to be great for Georgia. I was at the SEC championship this past year. I watched Gunnar Stockton play. I watched Carson Beck play. I watched Texas play. I watched Quinn Ewers play. I watched all of them play in person. I think Gunnar Stockton is going to be fine, and I think there's nothing the SEC should fear more than a pissed off Kirby. Yeah. It's second only to a pissed off Saban, and like those are scary factors
Yeah.
in SEC play. So I think Georgia's going to be good. I think Georgia will be good. I think LSU should be good. Florida should be good. South Carolina should be good. I have low expectations, I would say, for Oklahoma, which people are really big on the Oklahoma train right now. I don't understand why. So I have really low expectations for Oklahoma. This is an obvious one. I feel like I have really low expectations for Kentucky, and they're Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I actually have pretty low expectations for Tennessee. And I really think that is more of just I have a lot of question marks around the Tennessee program. There were so many things that happened in the offseason with Nico leaving. I will say that I have a lot more respect for Josh Heupel now and that Tennessee program and saying, like, we're not paying you, get out, like, go. But that leaves you with question marks, and that's completely fine, but you have to refill your most important position now, and that is not an easy thing to do. So yeah, I have some questions about Tennessee, probably lower expectations for them than most people do. I have low expectations for Mississippi State. The expectations for them are basically in the basement of hell. I don't know if they'll win one game. I hope they do because Blake Shapen is a family friend, and I want nothing more than to see him excel at the quarterback position there. But yeah, low expectations for them. I'm trying to think. Vanderbilt, I have like middle of the road expectations.
Yeah.
I think Diego Pavia has talked so much crap that he's not going to be able to back up. And I'm not saying that because he's not capable of doing it. I think at some point you do have to look around the room and remember where you are. And you do play for Vanderbilt, who is not a recruiting hotbed. You don't compete at the level of NIL that 99% of the rest of the SEC competes at. And every school now is sick of the fact that you have talked nonstop in the offseason. So, like, they're all prepared to come kill you, basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like Diego Pavia. Like, I appreciate the confidence that he has in himself as a player. I love his story, like, all of that. I'm just still aware of the fact that he puts on a Vanderbilt jersey when he lines up to play football. And that is just never, you're not competing for national championships in a Vanderbilt jersey. I'm sorry. I said it. I know you said that he said it. We're coming for it all. We're coming for an natty. You're not. You're not. You're going for a really good bowl game, buddy. But you're not going to compete for a natty.
You must have saw my ex tweets or whatever about Vanderbilt. I said if Vandy makes the playoff, I would probably wear a Pavia jersey. And I probably would, honestly, because look, I like Diego Pavia. A lot of people are just kind of like, he just talks a lot. Man, I love when he talks, only because I admire the confidence. A lot of people are going to say he's a cocky individual. I think in a way, you're going to have to be because of where you're at. Yeah. You know, you got to build your confidence up and you got to have the right headspace to go in. Do I think they're going to make the playoff? Most likely not. But I do think that I just really admire the confidence that Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt have. I think because you mentioned Tennessee, I think Tennessee's a low expectation for me too. A lot of people don't think that. A lot of people think that Tennessee's going to be really good. I agree with you. I think that Tennessee is going to underperform only because they do have Georgia week 3. They have Bama on the road. I just don't know, especially with Joey Aguilar coming in at quarterback. App State's different than Tennessee, and in the SEC, it's going to be a lot different. So I just don't know. I just don't know how it's going to gel. Josh Heupel must see something in him because he picked up the offense really, really quick during the spring. So I don't know.
I mean, and I'm saying I have low expectations for them. Like, it's still the SEC. Like, I still think they're going to compete. I just think their schedule doesn't allot for them to have a lot of errors and a lot of mistakes. I'll be at Georgia, Tennessee week 3, so I'll very early on see exactly who they are and what they're made of. I did buy tickets sitting on the Georgia side, if that tells you anything about my confidence level of who's going to win that game. But, I have pretty low expectations for them moving into the season. And the beautiful thing about low expectations is that gives them every opportunity to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Because I don't anticipate them being very good. But again, that's the thing about the SEC. You just never know.
Yeah. This is kind of a follow-up question to what I was asking with the expectations. So because I posted this on X, I have questions of the day on X too. So which team is in desperate need of a good season for the SEC? Auburn. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, Auburn.
Auburn needs a good season. They don't trust Hugh Freeze right now. there's so many questions about their quarterback play and if Hugh is prioritizing golf more than he's prioritizing ball. And I just think this is so odd, but I really struggle when Auburn isn't good at football. Auburn is probably like, if I had a second SEC school, it would be Auburn. Yep. I love Auburn. Auburn was the first SEC school that I ever visited that wasn't LSU. And I fell in love with Auburn. I was like, I get why people go to school here. I love it here. It's so cute. It's so quaint. And I went to a football game there. We beat them. And we were walking out, and their fans were so nice. Like, we don't really care that y'all just beat us. Just please beat Alabama. Like, we all have this mutual agreement that we just hate that school in Tuscaloosa, and that's just how it all works. And so I've always loved Auburn, and I've always really paid attention to Auburn football. And I have so many really good memories of us playing Auburn. The way that the SEC has split and that us losing that game has crushed me more than anything. Like, I loved the LSU-Auburn rivalry. I think it was good for the SEC, and it was good for college football. And I think college football as a whole is better when Auburn's good. Yep. I said that on a podcast probably 3 years ago. I still stand by that. I think they are a town deeply embedded in college football tradition. And the fact that they have not had a program that they have been proud of really, honestly, since like the Newton era, I think it's tough for them. I think that their fan base is getting antsy. I think their staff is getting antsy. I think their boosters are getting antsy, and they need a very good season.
They got to win at least 8 to 9 games. I said that on previous episodes of my show. They got to win at least 8 to 9. I would believe. I mean, do you agree with that, or? Yeah,
I mean, I think Hugh's in trouble, no matter what, and Auburn's got money. So they are more than willing to buy him out. Whatever they owe him, I don't know what it is, but LSU can afford to buy out Ed Orgeron, and Auburn can afford to buy out Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
I think I liked the Hugh hire. I really did. Like, when they got him, I liked it.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's not the same coach he used to be, which is fine. The game is changing. Like, that's the reality of it. Like, Nick Saban retired because the game is changing, and he didn't want to do this whole new thing with NIL and the transfer portal and all the changes and people leaving and coming and going. It's a lot. And so, yeah, I think if they don't win 8 to 9 games, it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Do you think it's kind of a tough question, I guess, for Auburn. Like, do you think that they should settle down, like wait, become a little bit more patient with Hugh Freeze, or do you think if they don't win 8 to 9 games, they should just pull it?
I think the struggle in this era of college football is that you do have the guys that are able to come in and have immediate success because of how they utilize the transfer portal. And there's zero reason that Auburn shouldn't be able to utilize the transfer portal in the way that like some of these other schools are. I'm a big proponent of like being patient. I think 3 years is kind of like the magic number, which is why I've been so loud and vocal about my disdain with Brian Kelly so far, because we're going into year 4. You said judge you in year 3. I didn't like what I saw. So yeah. We're having issues here, buddy. I just feel like, and the thing that I do struggle with in watching Hugh Freeze is that Brian Kelly at least is like apologetic, and he's like, I'm sorry, like the product I put out wasn't good enough, and I'm keeping receipts, and I'll see you in year 4, and we're going to the Natty. Like, he speaks with passion as if he believes wholeheartedly in his program. I don't see that same fire from Hugh Freeze. I don't know if Hugh loves coaching anymore, and I don't know if Hugh loves coaching at Auburn. I do know that Auburn comes with very unrealistic expectations, and their fan base is very hard to please. I heard it somewhere the other day that like Auburn might be one of the hardest jobs in the country just because of literally where it is located. Like the fact that you are having to argue with Georgia over here because you're so close to Georgia, and then you obviously are competing with Alabama. And then you're so close to the other 2 Mississippi schools. And then, Louisiana's not far either. Like, that recruiting area is really difficult as a whole. And you have another in-state school that has significantly more umph to it, if that's even, like, what I'm trying to say. Like, that program has won natty on natty on natty on natty. Like, Auburn just doesn't have that, And so... you have to win at other levels. You have to win in other ways. And I don't know if Hugh is the guy that is going to put Auburn in a position to win recruiting wars in a creative way when you're constantly having to fight against two powerhouse programs in Alabama and Georgia.
Last follow-up question to that before we move on to our last final question, is it'll be a quick question. Do you feel the same way about Sam Pittman in Arkansas?
Sam Pittman's gone. Like, I don't know why we're all pretending like he's not. Like,
Yeah.
this is Sam Pittman's last year at Arkansas. Like, we're watching a Sam Pittman farewell tour. That's what's happening. Like, the idea that Sam Pittman's going to be back at Arkansas next year is comical to me. Like, Sam's gone. So I don't think about Arkansas in the same way because they're just not in the same position. Like, I think it's very clear to everyone that is paying any lick of attention that Sam Pittman's gone. I think if Hugh Freeze wins this year, he will keep his job.
Right.
I don't think Sam Pittman's in the same position. I don't think if Sam Pittman wins this year, he keeps his job. I think, one, his schedule is brutal, so I don't think he's going to win. But I think that Arkansas has collectively as a whole decided to move on, and they're just doing it in a way that is honoring and respectful to Sam Pittman, considering like his health issues and things of that nature. Arkansas is less antsy because Arkansas doesn't have the history that Auburn has football-wise.
Yeah.
So they don't have this reputation of like, we should be competing with Alabama, whereas Auburn does. Arkansas doesn't have another in-state school that they're fighting with. And so Arkansas is going to be Arkansas regardless of who their head coach is. But they don't have the storied history that Auburn does football-wise. And so that's why I think they're different.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on Sam Pittman in Arkansas yet. I'll probably wait until during the season to talk about them a little bit more. But
yeah, he'll win one game he's not supposed to win, and then he'll lose a bunch of games he should.
Right.
So that's Arkansas in a nutshell.
I could see it being Tennessee again.
Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. I could see it being Tennessee again. I mean, honestly. Last but not least, your SEC prediction early on for the championship, and who do you think is going to take it?
For the championship? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do I think is going to take it? Oh, good God. This is difficult because I have not given any predictions. Like, I barely predicted LSU Clemson. Like,
No, you're good.
Someone basically held a gun to my head the other day and made me do it. I think if I had to like put money on who I thought would make the SEC championship right now, I would probably go LSU Georgia. Again, I said I lean Georgia, and I give Kirby Smart the benefit of the doubt because I think he's earned it.
Yeah.
And then there's so much hype on this LSU team, and again, like I said, if you're not making the playoff with the talent that you have on this roster, then like we have an issue. Yeah. Now, you can make the playoff and not make the SEC championship. Sometimes that even works in your benefit to not make the SEC championship. So I'm not saying that we're firing Brian Kelly if we don't make the SEC championship. But based on what I know, based on scheduling, based on the talent that I've seen, the talent levels that I've seen, I'm going to take LSU Georgia in the SEC championship. And I'm going to take Georgia winning it for a couple of reasons, but mainly Mercedes-Benz Stadium is their second home.
Yeah.
When we went to the SEC championship last year, it was just like that. Also, I think something that people like didn't really take into consideration is with the playoff now, the odds are that both teams playing in the SEC championship are going to make the playoff. So the second school, and if Georgia isn't in it, like that second school is less inclined to travel because they're going to travel to playoff games. Whereas like Mercedes-Benz is in Georgia's backyard. So
Right.
They're always going to travel well. It is basically like a home game for Georgia. So I would give the edge to the Bulldogs.
So I'm similar, but minus Georgia. I have Texas and LSU.
Okay.
Yeah, with Texas beating LSU. I guess I am high on Texas because I really like their roster. A lot of people are going to sit and say, oh, you're an Arch guy. I didn't really have Arch in my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the season. Because you can't really say anything because you hadn't started a full season. But I just really like how their roster's put together. And I think their receiver room is going to be very underrated too. So give me Texas. I would like to think this is going to be LSU's year to make it and then go to the playoff. I would like to think.
Yeah.
I've been very vocal about Brian Kelly and LSU, probably a little bit too much, but I mean,
I have not. If I've been vocal, it's not been in positive ways.
So you got Georgia. Do you have if Georgia wins the SEC championship? This is the last question. I know you gotta head off, but if Georgia wins the SEC championship, do you think they're gonna make a deep playoff run?
Yeah. I mean, I said it earlier in the show. Nothing scares me more than a mad Kirby Smart. He's real mad about last year. He's mad about the way the SEC has handled conference realignment. And I think he feels disrespected, which I kind of understand and then I kind of don't understand. I think he feels like they should be getting like the Alabama treatment that they got, like that Alabama got when Nick Saban was there. I do think that there's a little bit of discrepancy there because it's not the same kind of college football scheduling. It's not the same kind of playoff. It's not. There's things that are different there. But I do understand, like, if I'm a Georgia fan and I'm seeing all these like preseason stuff come out where they're ranking Texas ahead of you, I'm like, this is comical. Like, it does feel a bit disrespectful to Georgia when, like, I feel like Kirby Smart has earned that respect and Sark just seems to be getting it. And so, yeah, I think this could be a year for them to make a deep playoff run. I mean, that man did more with Stetson Bennett and Jake Fromm than anyone we've ever seen. Like, he'll be fine with Gunnar Stockton. I'm not too worried about them.
Daily Joy from SEC Pretty. Round of applause. Wonderful football takes, ladies and gentlemen. We are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, listen to some college football coverage, some SEC football coverage from Daily Joy and myself. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram at pigskin_frenzy. Follow all the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, highlights, cross college football, and just bunch of all fun, random stuff from me. So coming up this Thursday, you're not going to want to miss it. We have Tom Fornelli from CBS Sports coming on. Talk about college football, his career at CBS Sports. We're also going to pick Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State in Dublin this Saturday. College football's back. We're pumped up. And Thursday, we're going to make sure you get some college football in your veins coming up on Pigskin Frenzy. So until Thursday, guys, that's Daily Joy. May the Lord bless you all. We're praying for you all. We love you. I'm Joel Norris signing off. For everybody out there, please and always stay the course.